Donnie?
Hello.
Donnie?
Oh, he made it.
Excellent.
Donnie, are you there?
Donnie is here.
Donnie's here.
Excellent,
Wait.
thank you. Fantastic.
You on
Donald,
right now?
this is Evan. How are you, buddy?
I've been better.
Well, it's good to have you, that's for sure.
Yes, I'm trying to find a light in this room here.
Well, Donnie, just so you know, this is Rick. Thank you so much for joining us. Basically, I previewed a little before you got on that you were trying to connect. I did mention that people can go to Serena News and even Google you on your own. Just typing in human cloning on Google with Donald Marshall, and they'll be able to find you. I also let people know that Celine O'Carroll provided that forum page where people can intensively research what you've gone through. So I'm glad you were able to join us tonight. Thank you for being here.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and Evan's on along with us, and we're all curious, I'm sure, our listeners. We're talking about human cloning, so what does that really mean? Can you kind of just give us a background of where you're coming from and what your situation is?
I can. I'll try to be as comprehensive as I can. Like, I'm not a professional speaker or anything. I don't have a script or anything prepared or anything, but I'll just basically rat on the Illuminati here. Okay, when I was 5 years old, opened up my eyes and somehow I was in this place. It's got hockey boards all around. It's a small sports venue. It's got dirt in the center. Now, what they do, it's this specific kind of cloning. It's not from a baby and grown from a baby. That's replication cloning. This is duplication cloning. They can make fully formed duplicates of you, and the way that they transfer your consciousness into it, I'm not even exactly sure how they do it, because I'm pretty sure there's a way to block it, and they just don't want to let me in on it. They get you when you're in REM sleep, but only when you're in full REM sleep. And if you have a clone there, they can press a button and transfer your consciousness into your clone. You will not have a dream. You'll just go there and you'll be walking around a little bit stupefied, but you'll be walking around communicating. This is how the Illuminati communicates. I guess they told me it started in 1945, 44 or 45. They only had
Does that have anything to do with World War II, Donnie?
I'm not sure. Like, they don't tell me everything. Like, they told me a lot, but they don't tell me the nitty-gritty on everything. Well, how it happened, how they got all the celebrities and stuff involved, it was all politicians at first. And it was just communication, a government world communication zone. And then they started getting bored. So they started bringing, Marilyn Monroe and all these celebrities and stuff, and they thought it was all cool. Hey, temporary bodies, we can do whatever we want. And then the politicians started showing off. The celebrities started showing off, and it got more depraved, and then they realized, hey, we can bring people here and have the memory repressed. We can bring anybody here and do whatever we want with them and send them back, and they won't be any the wiser. And so they started doing that with any pretty people they could find, and, there's no way to get caught, so they're just, having fun. And it got worse and worse and worse. Then they started doing this thing called the sell your soul thing. All the celebrities saying they sell their soul to the devil. They're not selling their soul to the devil, they're selling their clone to the Illuminati to be used as a sex slave at night. Now the problem is,
so they're fully aware then, even when they're awake, that they have clones like you are.
Oh yes, they are very aware.
Okay.
They well, let's see. They're pretty excited at first. They go there. They're not famous. They don't have money, and they're like, "Oh wow, I'm going to get famous. Okay, just use me a little bit, no problem." They don't realize that it's a contract for the rest of your life. Like the rest of your life. You don't just get famous and then okay, have a good life. They keep you. Also, if you ever have any children, they're included in the contract. You have to induct your children into the thing. Now,
well, Donnie, can I ask you right there? If they're including your children, are there celebrities, are there politicians, are there people that kind of just haphazardly find themselves there where, if you're going to include my kid and I want to get out, have you noticed any certain type of, I guess just human being, whether celebrity or not, where that line is drawn, then where can they go from there?
Well, it's a pretty, how can I explain it? it's a pretty big penalty for going against them. Like a couple other people have already, and they were killed, and they were killed in real bad ways. Like specifically, Bernie Mac, Chris Benoit, the ex-wrestler, and who was the other guy? The one offed? Oh, Whitney Houston. They offed her too because she said she didn't want to attend anymore. She made like a big stand. She thought that they were going to cave. She's out in the center of dirt, and they're like threatening her. We'll kill you. We'll kill you. And she's like, I don't care. You won't kill me. She thinks that she's like Tila Tequila. She can threaten, and they won't do anything. But they made her have an
Donald, I have a question. You keep saying them and they, and you and I, we've kind of become friends, and we've discussed a few things. And you've told me that you have information that the fate of the world rests on. What is it? What is it? Who is it, or what is it that we should be afraid of at night? What are these creatures called? What are their names?
Okay, these creatures are called the Vril, a.k.a. the Anunnaki, a.k.a. the Pleiadians. They have all kinds of names throughout the centuries. Different cultures have named them different things. They come from underground. They are not from space. They come from underground. They've been around since before cavemen. There's paintings on cave walls.
Did they evolve, or did they? I mean, you said they came. Did you just say they came from space?
No, I said they don't come from space. They're from underground.
So did they evolve, or were they? I mean, how do you know how they were created, or?
I'm not sure
evolution?
Of origins, but I'm not sure of their origins. But they are the highly evolved lizard species. They're reptilian. They actually have said that the stupid things can talk, and they're stupid. Okay, they have said that they're not actually lizard. They're saurian, as in dinosaurian. They said that they lived past the cataclysm that killed dinosaurs because they were so far underground. Anyway, different religious cultures and sects and stuff started interacting with them. China was big into them. Israel was big into them. They're underground in like different regions all around the world, and there's even different factions of Vril. That's their name, the Vril. That's the common name they all call themselves, Vril. There's three different.
I've heard the name Vril before, Donnie, and it had to do with the Vril occult society, along with the Thule society that backed up Hitler, and they had a very similar. They told sort of a similar story about these supernatural creatures that lived underground, and Vril was the energy that they fed off of, but it was still deep, deep underground. Is this related in any way? Or is it just the Vril sort of passing on their story, but masking it in a way?
It's the Vril power was abandoned technology left behind by the Atlantean civilization, and the Atlanteans used to call themselves the Thule, like Thule, but pronounced Toolie. That's what Atlantis was called. Anyway, they got wiped out. Nobody really talked about how that happened, but they hinted that the Vril tried to drone all these people. Now, what droning is, okay, these lizards have a unique biological property of their bodies. This is what people talk about with the shapeshift, okay? There's no twisting, morphing, the scales come out of the skin and the eyes turn into slits and stuff. That's a myth. And they promote that to throw people off of the scent, right? What they do, they have this thing on their head. It's like an ejectable brain and spinal column. Now the smaller ones, they use smaller ones to get humans this way. They parasite a human's brain. Now this top cap thing on the top of their head comes out. They can do this once in their life, and it just wiggles out, and it pulls their spinal column along with it, and they have to have assistance, like the human would have to be restrained or unconscious. And this, they call it the quill. It's a proboscis that comes out of the top of the lizard's head, and it goes into the eye. It spirals around the optic nerve until it gets to a specific part of the brain, and then it does something called sweating. Now, the sweating part, the juice that's in the spinal cord gets excreted out of the tip of this thing, and it's their parasitic cells. Now, the parasitic cells go into the brain and they just take over and dominate totally. Just that.
And Donnie, hey, when you're talking about this sort of like paralysis of the brain, does that allude back to dead consciousness? Because you mentioned that before. What is dead consciousness?
And what is the Soulstone chip? What does that have to do with it?
Okay, getting to that. I just had to talk to my buddy here. I'm at a buddy's house. Okay. A bunch of billionaires and millionaires got together a long time ago. They said, I can cause wars, I can kill people, I can bring down monarchies even. One thing I can't do, I can't prevent myself from dying. And so they all got together, said, let's put a bunch of Chinese people on it, and we'll figure out something with cloning, right? Well, they figured it out. And this Soulstone chip thing, they said it's like the best technology that they have. Like, people live on this way, but it's very, very flawed. What happens, they record a flawed recording of someone's consciousness, all that you are, into an apple seed-sized microchip. It used to be big as a circuit board, but they reduced the size over years, and now they have it at the size of an apple seed. They can drill a hole in a person's head or pull the person's eyeball out and insert it with a rod, just push it right in, and to a certain depth of the brain, and then they turn it on. The person's like, well, it's like body snatching a person with a lizard, but with technology. And these people live on this way. It messes the person up for like a month or something, where they can only sleep and get up and eat. They have to have a nurse with them. After that, when they come back as a deadhead, they come back basically different. It's kind of like Pet Cemetery, but not extreme. Like, some of them come back, they're just about always bisexual. For some reason, they turn child molester for some reason. And sometimes they go with their first.
Is that why we're seeing an increase in pedophilia cases and things like that over the years?
Well, the thing is,
and we're obviously seeing an increase in politics too. I mean, look at everything that's happening in Great Britain. It's rumors and confirmed cases. It's just running rampant right now. Is this a reason why these duplicates?
Well, it's not just the people that are living on as dead chipheads. The drones, the parasitic hosts, they come back like that too. And when they're drones, they're pretty sick. They have no compassion for anything.
So what's the difference again then between a duplicate like clone and then a drone? Well, what's the difference there?
Okay, a duplicate clone is a person in the clone, like a human being in the clone running it. A drone is a parasitic host of this lizard, who is a lizard consciousness in a human. There's no reversing the process. The person dies. The lizard totally dominates, and it's bad, man. It's bad.
Well, and later on, Donnie, I wanted to do some name association with you later on towards the interview, and I wanted you to tell me, parasite or drone. But this may come as a surprise to you. I'm sure a lot of people, have attacked you, and I know that you also have a large following. But ever since I met you, ever since I talked to you on Facebook, I have researched some of the technology that I have heard you talk about. And maybe this won't surprise you, but I think it'll surprise a lot of the listeners. But there are some men out there that I have researched, namely Ray Kurzweil and another man named Dr. Michoa Kaku, and everybody can look these guys up on YouTube. But Kurzweil has made it absolutely known that his goal is immortality. And he has spoken about merging man and machine and microchip implantations, like you said, into the brains and downloading the brains and vice versa. And one thing that I heard Dr. Kaku talk about, and he's a theoretical quantum physicist. In addition to so many things that'll just blow your mind, contact lenses that you can, blink and go to an internet page and things like that, as he talked about shape-shifting. And and you had just mentioned shape-shifting, but this is what he said about it, and I want to know if you knew anything about it. He said that shape-shifting is not what we think it is, where people just, melt onto the floor like in Terminator and come back as something else, but he said that it is being worked on, and this guy is world-renowned. This stuff is not classified, everybody. This is declassified information. That shape-shifting will be programmable matter, rearranged matter, and what they're doing is they're mixing atoms and microchips, or placing microchips on atoms, and these microchips are all very, very small, obviously, to go on an atom, but they're as powerful as our PC computers. Now, what got me is the company that's developing this is Intel, the same people that put the processors in. What do you know? Is there any connection between Intel and the Vril? Do they have parasites or drones working for them? Or is this why are they trying to make this technology public, or are they? Or is this just plain human beings trying to work towards it? What's your view on that?
There's a lot of facets to the diamond, and well, it's not really a diamond. The thing is, okay, long story made short, Hitler was shown underground by Vril. They led him to an abandoned Atlantean base. The Vril did not know how to work the machines or like invent anything. They got claws and stuff. They're stupid creatures. Atlanteans used to use them to drone other nations. They were droners. Hitler got a hold of all the technology, started back engineering it, but he didn't get it fast enough, and the Americans and the Russians took it with Project Paperclip, and they took took all the stuff and started back engineering saucers and everything. The Roswell crash was a man-made saucer. See, the Russians and the Americans each got different bits and pieces of technology from Hitler. The Americans got the saucer stuff. Now, they didn't want, and the saucers, without gyros in them, like in the Segway scooters they have today, without the gyros in them, they're unstable big time. They skipped across everywhere, and they could crash real easy. Now, the Americans didn't want one of these experimental saucers to go crashing into some town and get photographed, and then the Russians would, because it was Cold War time then, the Russians would have known they were working on experimental aircraft, and it would have heightened tensions. So they put some squiggly lines on it, some couple alien symbols. The thing was just made out of mylar anyway. They said we didn't have mylar back then, but they actually did. They, all the technologies, they have them way long time before they say that they have them. So anyway, yeah. That's that. They got all kinds of technology. They might even got the cloning technology from this Atlantean base. It was in Antarctica. See, Hitler sent, he heard that there was magic or secrets in Tibet. So he sent an expedition that cost like billions of dollars in today's money. A bunch of Nazis over there to Tibet to talk to these monks about where's this magic. Well, the Tibetan monks were hiding Vril. They worship Vril, or at least they used to. And keep them secret. These peaceful
Is that the Dragon Society that I've heard of before, where I believe I heard the legend where Hitler kidnapped them, and what he claimed they could do, or Heinrich Himmler rather, also it was the man in charge of the kidnapping. Is that they could cause a flower to germinate and bloom within 20 minutes. Are those the same people that you're talking about? I believe they were called the Dragon Society.
Well, some of these things, the Brotherhood of the Snake, Dragon Society and stuff, it's all about lizards. Little dragons, those are the Vril type ones. There's 3 types. The third type is like 7, they get up to 7 and 8 feet tall. They're the long neck, gray looking things that Phil Schneider guy was talking about. They killed him because he went on blast telling everybody about them, and nobody believed him. Well, a lot of people did, but it's too late because they killed him.
Hey, Donnie, on that too, when you're mentioning naming names and where these, talking about Tibet and so forth, how this started back in the 30s, 40s, and so forth, different sites, different locations. I know that from reading some of the stuff that you had alluded to before, like on Facebook and that site that Celine provided, that one of those you think is in Canada, and perhaps within 4 or 5 hours of the famous or infamous Picton pig farm.
Yep.
And the reason I bring that up is people who are not aware of the Picton pig farm, a guy was basically, pled guilty to and then alluded to killing a bunch of people, a bunch of women. And I thought you had mentioned before that they would take they would record some of those killings, take them to the cloning center. So when we're talking about like these cloning centers, so far I think our listeners might not understand what you've personally seen and been through as far as kind of the grotesque nature. It's not just for human cloning for benefit. There's some sort of evil thing happening, entertainment going on. Yeah. So where are these centers that you know of, and who's behind it?
Okay. Well, the Dulce Base has an entire floor devoted to cloning. In Area 51, the underground, they have an entire floor devoted to cloning. A lot of the deep bases, they have an entire floor devoted to cloning, an entire floor devoted to gene splicing. There's the Montauk Base. They make all kinds of monsters and stuff for military weapons and for scientific exploration of like different enzymes they might have in them. Let's see, the Picton stuff. That was government known. Okay, let me tell you, Queen Elizabeth does not like prostitutes for some reason. They wanted to make these things called snuff films. They're murder videos. And this is also the reason why Britney Spears went loopy, because she watched too many murder videos and seen too many lizards eat too many kids at this place.
And when you say Britney Spears, you mean in her, like when she was in REM sleep, kind of taken as a clone to witness this, correct?
Yep. You see, Britney's been there since she was a teen, or even younger, and, if she wanted to be famous or promoted, she would have to go there during REM, and she's an assembly line sex slave, basically. Doesn't want it to be known, but she does want out of there. I mean, I'm not going to give details of the disgusting things that I've seen about specific people, but, that's their business, but, stuff that's been done to me, and I'll talk all kinds about that, or if I've seen them hurting other people there or whatever, I'll talk about that, but they want me to not discuss their big fur balls they get into there. Anyway, the Picton stuff, they videotaped them all. There was a video camera in the top corner of the room. He used to smash the hookers in the head with a ball-peen hammer. Now, the way that I know that the cloning station is close to the Picton farm by about 5 hours is they would wait. He would get a hooker to this place, his pig farm there, bring them in, smash them in the head, and feed them to the pigs. Well, he would videotape it, and someone would go to his place in a car, get the video right away because they were sought after. These scumbags just sit there and watch them and laugh. It would take 5 hours to drive from the Picton farm to the cloning center, which I assume, well, the only above ground one that I've ever seen, besides one in China, that it would take 5 hours to get there, and he would come running in and they would put it on screen. Elizabeth used to make me watch every single one. She said it would strengthen my mind. But
and when you say Elizabeth, you're referring to Queen Elizabeth.
Yep, Queen Elizabeth, one of the most evil people in the entire world.
I agree with that. She owns or no lizard, she's evil. Yeah.
She owns the cloning station that I'm forced to attend, and the royalties are there. All the biggest stars are there because they don't like going to Dulce Base or any of these underground bases because they smell like sterile hospital down there. But the above ground one in Canada is airy, it's above ground, and only the most...
We're at in Canada, Donnie. Where's this cloning station at in Canada?
It is somewhere in the west coast, or western Canada, because, well, it's within 5-hour radius around the Picton farm, and then I looked at it, and I said, wait a minute, there's like nature preserves out there where you're not allowed to trespass, right? And different military stuff, you enter and you may be shot type of thing. And it's in one of these places because I was outside of this above ground one before. There is nothing around it. There's all trees, one overgrown dirt road leading to it, there's no sign of civilization on the horizon, nothing, not smoke on the horizon or anything. And some of the people don't understand how I would have ended up there or why they would have told me so much. So just let me tell you about that real quick. When I was 5...
Well, I wanted to ask about that, Donnie. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I mean, for our listeners, the people that are skeptic, because I told you, I was originally skeptic. It's not that I don't believe you, but just for everyday people out there that are very skeptical of many things, this is kind of beyond that. How are you able to talk about this? How are you able to give out this information?
Why haven't they killed you for getting this out?
Exactly.
Is part of it also. So.
Yep, I'm getting right to that. That's the part. Why am I still alive, right? Well, when I was 5, I was brought there. I didn't know how I got there. I thought it was another dimension, like a lot of other people think, because, I'm there, I'm looking around, and I don't know who's around me, and they used to give me cookies and stuff to calm me down. Anyway, I was originally brought there to be a molestation victim. So anyway, I wasn't into that, so all I'd do is scream and cry, and someone said, well, do you do anything else, singing or dancing? So I started singing just songs out of thin air. And the first one that I ever did, I don't even want to mention which ones because it sounds so weird this 5-year-old did this song. Anyway, Elizabeth was there and I sang that song Lady by Kenny Rogers for her. Kenny Rogers was a sex slave for Elizabeth, for Queen Elizabeth. He, if he ever talked about it, he would have been killed. So I sang that Lady song to her with the hockey boards in between us, and she was all awestruck, and everybody was like, wow, how did you do that? And I was like, I don't know. Can I go home now? They deactivated me. My cologne fell limp. I woke up the next morning, didn't remember anything. They gave me back my memory at age 30. They call it the awakening. Anyway, they kept on bringing me back. They're like, make another song like that you did before. So I made another song. And I guess someone famous used it. And then I made another song the next night, and someone else used it. And then it wasn't, after a while, after a few weeks, it wasn't amazing anymore. It was just common thing. Let's get a song from this freak kid, right? And then when I couldn't come up with songs anymore, they started to try to scare me with threats. So then that worked for a little while. But then when that didn't work, then they started hurting my clone, stabbing it, punching it, everything, and just lightly at first because I was a kid, but then it got worse and worse. And then people just started, like, they included me into some kind of a torture spectacle. They'd chain me up, and, man, they just torture you. And people get, like, aroused there in the stands at watching it, the screaming and stuff. And lizards, Vrils, they hang in the deep bases in the stands too, side by side with people, and some people don't like sitting near them. They smell funny, and I don't know, and they're really creepy looking. And so they sit on the other side, but the lizards really love it. It's like music to them. These things, I know all about them, because after I made so many songs, this is how the reason I'm not dead. After I made so many songs, they all wanted me to go there willingly, and political people started asking me advice. I'm like a little kid. They're like, what would you think about this? Because they said that a little kid can think outside of a box and provide alternate options that they hadn't thought about, which I did, and it just got worse and worse, and they kept asking me more and more, make more and more songs. So eventually then people started saying, oh my God, what if this kid is like some kind of special religious significance? And then all the religious fanatics started going weird, trying to say that I could be New Age Jesus because it's around the same time and he's amazing and this and that, looks the part. Then they wanted to use me for something called Project Camelot. Now this is a real slimy plan to manufacture a Messiah-like figure to lead the Earth through a cataclysmic catastrophe, which is...
Now, are you referring to like a blue beam and so forth? Does that come into play with this sort of thing, like a one-world religion, like with Camelot?
Yeah. Oh yeah, just about all the G20 leaders attend this place. They've been collected into it, and other people that aren't even in the G20 are in it. A bunch of African countries, Scandinavian countries, a bunch of different royalties. They all go there. And so many people have been made an example of, they are all scared silent, except for like the most powerful. They're really for it. They're all a bunch of old, ugly, fat people that can't get laid, so they bring people there and they're all enslaving people, and it's just a lifestyle for them, right, because they're so powerful and stuff. But they never figured I'd turn on them. I always planned to. I always planned to turn on them. As soon as they released my memory to me, I was going to be down in the police station, on the internet, something, until they killed me, because, you know, I can't continue to be going to this place. And I always told them I didn't want to go there. And Elizabeth's like, you'll come here if I want you to. And she's always full of threats. You don't see her talking too much on TV and stuff. Oh, man, this windbag at this place is, oh, my God. She says she is the speaker. This is her venue. And I am her soapbox.
Well, they have to be scared, though, right? I mean,
they're terrified.
They're knowing that you're disseminating this information, not only you, but many other people. And I know you've come in contact with others that have been at these cloning centers, and they come forward, and of course, they kind of change immediately afterward, or I don't know if there's some sort of technology with the chip and so forth, where with threats, where they change, like Tila Tequila, for example, and so forth. I'm trying to name drop it, but you come in contact with these other people. However, these powers that be, so to speak, like the Queen of England, I'm sure there's many other, like you said, the G20, they must be scared this information is coming out. At the same time, would they not then kind of step back from showing up so much and being so obvious about it for fear that they'll be found out?
Yes, they're trying to negotiate. This is the thing. They wanted me to tell about cloning. They wanted me to tell about Vril and the hosts, the parasited hosts. Now, the thing is, they did not want me to tell about the Chipheads, because they want to continue their fake immortality, flawed existence. But I told
Why did they want you to tell about the other stuff, though?
Okay, all the celebrities, they don't want to attend anymore. And all of the ground level people that go there for rowdy, crazy, disgusting fun, they don't want to go there anymore. The novelty is worn off.
Basically, business, they're trying to shut the business down because it's not as functional anymore, right?
Yes, and they don't know what to do about all the hosts in the world. There is a lot of hosts, parasited hosts of these lizards. They used to be called mimics because they mimic human behavior. Germans called them doppelgangers. They have all kinds of names from different countries. Japan called them Oni. That means demon in Japan. Yeah, they want it known, but they said that this is the subject that is going to cause the end of the world, and they said I have to say it right to the world, or it's going to be a catastrophe, because this could, once it's proven, once you see a crab, I call them crab nasties, once you see a Vril body on television, and then people know what the proboscis does, and then someone says the percentage of the population that has been droned, it could lead to panic, riots, loss of social order, looting, martial law, all that, and that could be the end of the world, spiral down. Just, you know, everybody got to stay calm. They're trying to think of a solution, but the thing is, China and Russia, man, China and Russia and Germany are pretty much the most powerful factions there. Italy is pretty much, well, Italy has the religious part of the Catholicism there. They got lots of money, but they're nothing compared to China and Russia. China and Russia droned a lot of people, very heartlessly, with a military agenda. And
well, Donnie, so what does that mean, like, for the average person? So are you saying that, like, when you're walking down the street, I would tend to think that there'd be some people that would be droned, which means it's their body is not really their original human body, but it's this sort of real mentality taking over human bodies. So if you're walking down the street, there could be a percentage of other people, right? Now, but also on that, then looking at positions in power, wouldn't it make sense to conceive the idea, if that's what their agenda is, whatever it is for droning, that people in high power, even presidents and so forth, could be drones instead of just...
Definitely.
And when you say China and Russia militarily, are you trying to say that they're using China and Russia as their personal bodyguards?
No, they are. China and Russia have been using lizards to replace people, to drone people and make them willing slaves, because the drone just likes being a human.
What's in it for the lizards? What's in it for the lizards then?
Ensured safety, keeping them secret. They get more bodies to inhabit for their friends back underground and stuff. Different stuff.
So they're
also
like food purveyors then to them. They're like food and entertainment providers.
Yes, exactly.
Basically.
No, they don't only drone people. They eat people. Their favorite food is humans and goats. Goats and the type 3s like poultry, blood. Now they drink blood, and the solids that they like are brain and pancreas. It's their choicest parts, right? And
right.
They get them people, governments get them people to eat. It's disgusting. You would think that the government people were drones. Now, thing is, China and Russia, they pretty much undermined America so bad. They have been droning people in America for a long time, in the government and everything, and chipping people's heads and taking over. America isn't even, I don't want to get people mad, but America isn't even really a country. It's a parasite country. It's going to have a real bad time soon, because Russia and China are setting it up to take a fall. They know that they can't nuke them, because they get a retaliatory strike and they would take damage. They know they can't invade, because everybody has guns and they get blasted. So they're going to find something else to do. And I think they're going to drop a man-made asteroid on it from somewhere out there. I don't know how they can do this. It could be a plasma ball caused by the Harper machine that they have, the weather manipulation tool they have. They've been using that for a while.
The Nibiru everybody's talking about, Planet X, is that what you're thinking that they're going to do, is pull Planet X down onto, down on Earth?
They've told me years ago there is no Planet X. They said they're going to use that as an excuse. Now, what their plan was, they had a few different plans and spin-offs of those plans. They made a few movies about it to run it by the public, to gauge public reaction, to see what
predictive programming. Yes. So
yep.
Can you, and real quickly, Donnie, when you're talking about this, like what movie specifically are you referring to?
Oh man, like Deep Impact and like Armageddon and all that.
Okay.
The Nicole Kidman, who attends, by the way, she made a movie a little while ago called The Invasion, where people are getting droned, but they have webs on their hands, so you can tell. These things don't have webs on their hands, and you can't tell. They imitate human behavior very well. And the thing is, something I have to tell you guys about drones, they don't breed well. So if you see a family, they had a child that's missing an ear, they had a child that was born with a tail, they had a child that was born missing an eye. This family is probably parented by 1 or 2 drones. They don't breed well at all. Drones usually go bald. Their skin gets all red rosacea, rashy looking. One of their eyeballs sometimes pops out, like Nicolas Cage. He just had to do a movie with his eye, with a gunshot wound to it to cover up his popped out eyeball. Yeah, he's a freak. All the mainstream artists go to this cloning center, and all the biggest political people and all the biggest royalties go to this place, and they're all so confident they will never be caught because the REM-driven Mark II cloning is too hard for the public to fathom. They're like, REM, transfer your consciousness. Oh, that's not real, that's Star Trek. Everybody thinks that, but it
right,
is
the bigger the lie, the easier it is to believe.
Well, the transhumanists are talking about doing it right now. They're openly talking about wanting to do it, but it's something that people have to search for. They don't. Yeah. They're not putting it on CNN. I mean, you have to search deep for this, and it's not. It's not that they're hiding it, but they're sure not talking about it at all.
I wouldn't watch CNN because Anderson Cooper goes to the place. He's supposedly a rich guy from some family called the Vanderbilts. He attends the place. He talked to me before. They all want to meet me and talk to me and say, hey, how'd you think up all those songs, man? And I say, why don't you refer to my last answer from, the last 25 people that asked me that? And I really
take
don't
you there, Donnie?
Oh, yeah, man. Just about every REM stage I'm there. But recently, they haven't been attacking me at all. They're acting like they're worried. They're like, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? And I'm like,
well, no, Donnie, too, on that, like, if Anderson Cooper and so forth, when they're visiting there, do you mean when they're visiting there, they're not physically there, they're
REM'd into a clone. They're transferred into a clone. They all have clones on racks there, just waiting to go, right?
So it's just their REM surrogate, right? Just their REM surrogate? Okay.
Oh, yeah, that surrogate movie is about it, too. Oh, the Avatar film is based on Mark II REM cloning. And, man,
I saw a movie called The Island with Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor. It really reminded me of you also.
And they both attend, too. They both attend the place, too. Man, it's crazy.
What about the Vatican and the Rothschilds, Donnie? What part do they play?
Well, the Vatican's been down with lizards for a whole long time.
And I got a problem. I got a big problem with the Pope and the Rothschilds. You've seen my blog. You know what kind of problem I have with it. So I'm wanting to know, what, from your vantage point and your experiences, what's their deal?
Well, the Rothschilds have been helping lizards for like hundreds of years. These bloodline families, they're just lizard helpers. They helped lizards in the past, and lizards favored them in the past. They used to bring them up gold and gems from underground that they mined. They don't need them, right? And they would trade people, like the Danish kings. They would trade the Danish kings gems and gold, raw gold, like just crude gold, and they would give them animals, children, all kinds of things, and just cart them down tunnels and cages and stuff. They had a good little trading thing going, and but now it seems like they want lizards gone. But they're afraid of telling the world about hosts, like Dmitry Medvedev said, just on an interview thing just a little while ago. He said, if the world knew about how many aliens were among us, there would be panic, right? He just said that recently. He's talking about the hosts. I mean, there's a movie that's coming out soon. It's called The Host. They're just putting it out there. They're afraid that someone's going to freak out and there's going to be riots and stuff. It could be the end of the world once people find out about this. This is the end of days subject. These things have always been under us, man. They used to.
I wanted to talk to you about that too because you had mentioned. And we saw the other day with the Pope, we saw a prophecy fulfilled, the St. Malachi prophecy, which we'll talk about next week. But you've talked to me before about, with these Vril lizards, the Pharisee prophecies, and it's interesting that you use the word Pharisee, and we just spoke about the Rothschilds because the Pharisees were the Jewish religious leaders that were responsible for the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and how do they play into the Vril?
Well,
and what are the Pharisee prophecies? Are they duplicating Revelation's prophecies on purpose, or what are they doing?
Well, the thing is, they don't have a religion that they can follow because there's not too many religions that will condone the scummy things that they do. So they made a collage of a bunch of different prophecies, the Nostradamus prophecies, the Quatrains, the Revelations, and the Hopi Indian prophecies, Mayan and Aztec prophecies. And they mixed them all together and tried to make some kind of sense of it. Now, these Pharisees, they make the prophecies happen in any way that they can to ensure that religion is still a viable business. So they'll keep getting donations and the priests will still be in a job. They flooded New York using Harper. They do all kinds of stuff. They're making rivers go red. And over in Jerusalem, or somewhere in Israel, they just made that red cow get born, a red heifer cow. Now, when did
that happen, Donnie? Because I got a friend on Facebook that's been talking about that and wondering when that's going to happen. It's called the red heifer. It's the sacrificial animal that the Jews were supposed to start. It was the first animal that they were going to start sacrificing when their third temple was built.
Yep, it's supposed to be when a red heifer is born over there, It's supposed to be the end of days.
Did you say it just happened, or is it going to happen?
You guys, we're running out of time here. Just so you know. So, any last words you want to say?
Save me. And all the celebrities want you to save them too, but they're too scared. I don't have a choice. The celebrities don't get tortured, they just get sexed on. But they want out, but they're too scared to say, so I'm saying it for them, and they're all hoping that I get to the world with it. There's lizards, guys. Yeah, and all kinds of hosts.
And for those that want to see more of Donnie's story and his cloning and Vril and so forth, visit Stream the News. That'll be posted. You can Google Donald Marshall and cloning. It'll take you to his site. It's very interesting information. I want to thank you both tonight for being on. This has been great. I think we might have to do a follow-up or two.
Definitely.
I'd love to, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And next week, Evan and I are going to be tackling the new Pope, just so everyone's aware. And just want to thank you both. Sorry for the short cutoff, but our time's up.
Thanks for the opportunity, guys.
Good night, all.
Well, yeah, Donnie, I'd love to do another one with you, brother. It's good talking to you.
Anytime, man.